Yes, my people, you already know the vibe each and every time. Welcome back to Hakka Chats, where I'll be sitting down with some of our favorite people having a deep dive conversation into how they got to where they are today. And you see today, it was a big episode because I got a big player in the game, my big brother, ADESOPE. SHOPSYDOO, let's go.
My brother.
This has been a long time coming.
Yeah, we've been trying to set this up for a while, man. Because you're too busy.
No, you're too busy. Don't. Come and just enter straight. Bro, do you know what? Do you know why I'm even excited for this? Because even my wife was excited for this conversation. A lot of us was excited for this conversation because it's like, yes, we see, yes, your big bro, I call you for advice and all of these things, but I just want to pick your brain in terms of just have a conversation, and because there's so many things I don't even know about you.
It's needed, yeah, man.
And there's so many things a lot of people don't.
Facts.
Do you know what I mean? This is like
facts.
Old school, new school, new school, old school combined.
It's the best.
So let's get straight into it.
Best.
I've got a series of questions,
Please,
but I know
feel free.
with you, I just know the conversation is just gonna flow like how it should. So it's like, what was it like growing up? What was it like growing up for Shopsy? Or is it ADESOPE?
Yeah, I think I grew up in like a very lively household. You know, I had a couple older brothers. You know, it's a huge family. You know, big family, extended cousins, that type of stuff. Extremely playful family. We've got sports background, tennis, basketball. Because there were a lot of guys in the house. So it was very playful. My dad, you know, who, like every African household, the main player in the house. But my dad is very liberal. My father, always been very liberal, extremely exposed, you know, so allowed us to be very confident, to be who you wanted to be. You know, he made us test out anything. In secondary school, I used to apart from sports, I used to dance.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's where the moves come from.
Yeah. So that's where the moves come from. I was part of the dance school back then, you know, so we used to dance, get in trouble in school for dancing. But my dad was, you know, he was cool with it. You know, he wanted us to
just enjoy it.
Yeah, just enjoy yourself, experience, you know, be yourselves. And then because I had brothers, I was also watching the guys. So there was a lot of chatter about girls, you know, entertainment. It was that type of childhood.
Of course.
How I'll put it is, I was very blessed to have been born and raised in my family because, number one, they were extremely intelligent people academically there. Medical doctors, chemists, geophysicists, extreme scientists.
This is all in
the same family. And then you have, you know, the ne'er-do-wells like myself.
Which happened?
Yeah.
Which happened?
Yeah, because my position as well is one of those positions that's not a position. I'm a fifth child.
Fifth child is
the older ones are the ones with the pressure. The younger ones are the ones that are more kind of like taken care of.
Of course.
We're in the middle, we're just floating.
We're just floating.
Exactly.
So was entertainment always something that you wanted to do, or is it something that you found yourself in that space?
Like I said, from like the first year in secondary school, I was like dancing. I was not only dancing, I was dancing for my secondary school. My secondary school was...
Oh, so dance competition.
Yeah, it was one of the biggest schools in my city. I grew up in Ibadan. Yeah. Went to Loyola College, all boys school. So it was like a mad competition. We had major competitions with other dance schools, other secondary schools. And I was one of the people that was representing my secondary school from first and second year in secondary school. So that shows you that there was a massive taste and interest into that. And then when I got into my later years in secondary school, hung out, was part of the press club, was like the vice president press club, which I didn't even know I was going to get into media at the end of the day. But was entertainment had been part of the blood.
Like, it's always been there.
Yeah, but it was just to have fun. Again, the kind of family I grew up in with that many guys and then going to an all-boys school, when you're around guys, you're just entertaining each other.
Of course.
It's always about making each other laugh, picking on someone else, that type of energy. And that carried on to university. Like I said, in my household, we're incredible, academicians, man. So the first thing that came to us naturally was science. So I studied botany and plant science at university. Yeah, bro.
So ADESOPE
I'm a scientist.
Is an intelligent.
Very. Microbiology, zoology, chemistry. I did everything. I was proper nerd. I'm doing like paleontology. I did research on how. I'm a proper So when I speak to people now, I tell people that I am an extrovert when you see me outside, but I'm an introvert on the inside. I'm a complete geek. So I can have a conversation with everybody in between entertainment, and politics, and reality.
It makes sense.
Exactly. So that's me. I'm like a geek.
It makes sense.
As a teenager would watch, presidents give speeches and take out quotes from that and say, that quote was crazy. As a 12, 13-year-old, having that type of conversation with my father. So that's how
that's what I'm saying. This we're even just started and already blown my mind in terms of that's what you studied. So when did SHOPSYDOO, where did that name and that start from?
The mean streets of Deptford. London.
So now we've come.
Now we're in the UK.
Now we're in the UK.
The funny thing is, even at the time when I'd finished uni and moved over here, it wasn't as if that was my mom that I was speaking to earlier. I just moved over to come be with my mom and maybe just get your 9-to-5 job and just carry on moving. That's all. But there was a day I went to visit a friend of mine. Her name is Ronke Apampa. And at that time, I'm talking the early 2000s now, maybe 2002, early, when Ben Television was like prime. This is my friend. And she's on Ben Television every Saturday hosting a program called The Magazine Show.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I went to see her in Peckham. Then Peckham was the mean streets as well. Not what we see today.
No.
So I went to see her. And when I got to her house, usually when I go and see her and my other friends, I spent like 4 or 5 hours in the house before I come home. But on that day, she was about to step out. And I was like, so where are you going? She said, I'm just going down the road, Peckham Rye. There's a pirate radio station that I work there and stuff that if you don't want to go, you can come with me. So I'm like, I'm not going back home. Let me follow her. So I went with her to that pirate radio station. It's called N-Power, Niger Power. We got into the radio station. She hosted a live show. People were calling in. And then afterwards, like 2 hours after, she was about to read. She wanted to record some promo. So she had like a readout and she was recording it, but she didn't feel like her energy was good. So she needed kind of like a conversational type of piece.
Yeah.
And I was having a conversation with her. And the owner of the pirate radio station came out of the back and said, man, I like your voice. Why don't you come here and host a radio show? I'm like, me? Radio show? He said, yes, now that your voice, there was energy in it.
And at this time, you wasn't doing anything.
Nothing, radio,
hosting,
nothing,
presenting.
media, nothing. That man just said that. And I thought to myself, okay, I live with my mom. Like, whenever I'm playing my music loud, she's always, how mom.
Yeah.
Keep it low. I'm like, maybe this is an opportunity for me just to play my music as loud as I want without any problem. So I said, I'll take you up. When? He said, every Saturday, 2 hours. Cool. And I just started going there.
So that was the birth.
That was the beginning of everything you see today. That was it.
No, I have to, because for the fact that that is how it started and you saw that as, you know what, I can run with this.
Yeah.
Let me keep going with this. And that came from an opportunity that you didn't even ask for.
It was crazy because I remember now, sometimes back earlier on, like my friends in the summer, like my friends would be like, there's barbecue here, everybody's at this party. And once I get there and the party was just about to start popping off, I'll be like, yo, man, I'm running, I've got my radio show in Peckham.
They'll be like, what?
Bro, who's listening to the freaking radio show? People used to look at me crazy. Even my family members thought I was crazy. Like, this guy would leave and go to Beckham that nobody is listening to. But at that time, I enjoyed the freedom it gave me. And once in a while, when people called in, you know, people around Elephant and Castle and stuff, yeah, play me that Face record, play me Two Face. That gave me, like, at least there's somebody. At that time, there's a phrase that I use now that I never used to use. At that time, we were basically serving the immigrants, bro.
Okay. No.
So it was just us that are emigrated.
Yeah,
that we were responding to.
Yeah.
So when anybody calls in or whatever, you know,
no, it's your people.
Hey, this is my brother. He just came in, got no papers.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, I mean,
he wants someone to talk to. 100%.
Yeah, this is the music he was listening to back home at uni. Let me play. That was it. But that was enough motivation for me at that time, without any income, without nothing, just to keep doing.
What year was that?
I'm talking 2002, 2003.
2002, 2003.
Facts.
Cool. So what I like to do on the Hakka Chats is we're now at 2002. We're now going to work our way up to this current moment. So from 2003, what's the next stage? What's the next thing that happened?
So from Empower, the next stage was, I've been doing Empower for a couple of years. And I think around 2006, I just thought maybe we needed obviously a better radio station, a bigger radio station.
So now you're embedded
I'm embedded in it. I'm so comfortable. I go every single week, give them my 2 hours every single week. I'm enjoying it. When people go to Nigeria, I ensure that they buy CDs. So when they come back, we rip those CDs off, we copy the songs, put it on the computer. That was regular now. That was me now for like 3-4 years. So in 2006, I saw an advert online at the time at a radio station called Voice of Africa Radio.
Okay.
And when I saw that, that was more outside of Empire, because Empire was more entertainment and music and stuff like that. But this was more like a proper radio station. There was talk, politics, and it was talking about the whole Africa thing. So I'm like, yo, I sent my CV in at work, and they invited me to come. So when I went there and I got to the reception, I was speaking to the owner of he said, oh yeah, you were the one that, standing right next to me was a big guy at the time, who now is DJ Gabe.
DJ Gabe.
So that's where I met DJ Gabe.
And he...
At that place. So because that was my first time at that radio station, the owner of the station was like, okay, you can link up with this guy. He'll show you how to use the stuff.
The settings.
He taught me how to do the stuff. It was my friend. So the show, initially, the show on Empire was called Urban Black Beats. When we got to Voice of Africa, it was called Urban Afrobeats. And it was like 3 words. So it's urban, then Afro, then beats. And we got there, myself and Don Lee, we're hosting the show. That show was Friday nights, 10 to 12. It was just before what we call in radio, the graveyard shift.
Because it's late.
It's late. So a lot of people have gone now. A lot of people
maybe sleeping. You don't know
people
who's
are
listening.
tired. That type of stuff.
100%.
And we still used to joke at ourselves at the time that, man, ain't nobody listening to this. But one guy whose show was after hours, who was great proper. This guy will come in just before his show starts. He'll set his camera. He'll set everything. He'll put his laptop down. He'll connect his computer to the system. I used to think about this guy like, this guy mad. Who's listening to this guy's show? Who's listening? The guy turned out to be DJ Larry, who eventually created Factory 78.
Factory 78. So from there,
so that's where we met. So he'll come, just before we finish, he'll set his computer up, and we just used to joke like, this guy is some joker, man. Ain't nobody listening to this. But we were all impressed with his dedication.
That he came and he sat up regardless.
So he used to record his shows and upload it on podcasts at that time. In 2007, 2008, there was a platform called Podomatic, I think it was, where you could record your radio shows and put it on there like podcasts where people would listen to it. And this guy was one of the first people that knew about that stuff.
And he was doing it. So regardless whether anybody was listening at that time, he knew that.
It was just, let me just go put it back on. And that was between 2006 and 2008. So after about 2 years on Voice of Africa Radio, I just felt like, man, this wasn't going anywhere. And to be honest with you, I used to travel from Wembley from work to
Wembley, is that where you was living?
So that's where my work was. My work was in Wembley. I'll come from Wembley all the way to Bow Road in East London to come Plaistow to come and do the radio show, and then come back home to Deptford here before. It was too much.
And during this whole period, was you getting paid?
Paid? Oh, nobody gets paid with all these things.
It was just a
pay. Pay was the last thing on your mind. Nobody gets paid. Radio at that time, unless you were on like maybe the BBC or something. Even the BBC and co, man. If you see what they were giving people, nobody was getting rich off of that. So what you would get is you get a voice, you get a name.
To be able to build a platform for yourself.
Then you build it. Then maybe the BBCs and co would even increase your pay.
Yeah.
But nobody was getting paid like that. So when you go to pirate radio and go to all these unlicensed radio stations and co, forget me, you were working for free.
But did you have a vision? You knew that, because working for free and knowing that, okay, I'm eventually trying to get somewhere.
Yeah.
Is working for free for yourself.
Yeah.
But did you have that vision, or you were just enjoying what you was doing?
No, I was just enjoying what I was doing.
Oh, so it wasn't even I want to go eventually get to that stage.
No vision, nothing. I was completely, from
crazy.
2002 to at least 2013, 14, to friends and family was a waste of space. Apart from the fact that I was just working and taking care of my family. All that other stuff I was doing was like they had done juju on me. So family members were just looking at this guy.
Like, what are you doing? There's no money coming in from
Remember, I'm telling you, I've come from, my father's a medical doctor, my brother's this,
there's pressure,
this one's there, everybody's doing, but this guy is running around. And remember, how they looked at entertainers back in the day, especially coming from Nigeria, was a waste of space. Once you say you're a musician, the picture in people's minds is that you're going to the grave now. It's going to be a drug addict.
You're lazy.
He's going to have multiple baby mothers. It's just going to be a waste of space. That's it. So now, think of what they were thinking about with me just being someone that was documenting guys that were destined for failure. This one too is a failure in itself. This one too is a waste of time. So, but everybody just left me because I wasn't getting in no trouble. There was a time I used to, back in the early 2000s, like here, it was like the 419ers, the credit card scammers, and all of your friends were doing all that rubbish. Mm-hmm. And my friends would come and pick me up and say, bro, man, let's go to this party. I'll say, man, I've got work tonight, then I have radio tomorrow. One of my friends looked at me and said, first of all, how much is the work that you're doing tonight? I'll say maybe 60 pounds. 60 pounds the whole night? Okay, I'll give you 150 pounds. Just to come party with me. One day, I'll take it. The next day when he comes, I'll be like, bro, I'm not losing my job. They're looking at me like, bro, this guy's crazy. Because that time, these guys were ballers, bro. Balling. The kind of money these boys were. So they look at you like, number one, I was doing all sorts of jobs. So I had a full-time job as a civil servant, a job that I've kept for over 20-something years. Yes, sir. Over 20-something years.
What?
Yes, sir, till I speak to you. Full time.
Still?
Till I speak to you.
Someone said, wow.
No, because it's wow. Till I speak to you. Full time in the civil service. I manage a very stressful team in the housing department. Kept that job since 2002. Full time. And in between that, I've done part-time jobs. I've worked at the football stadium,
while holding that job.
For 10 years, I worked at a football stadium. Chelsea, West Ham, Fulham, full time. I saw the greats. I saw Ronaldinho. I saw Ronaldo. Flesh. Full time for 10 straight years. I watched every Champions League, every FA Cup, every Carling Cup. I went to Wembley Stadium. I did all of that. As part of my part-time. And I was chasing the media and entertainment thing, just doing that for myself. So at this point, this just became like a release for me. So my work was what everybody else in the UK was doing. Waking up in the morning, going to work, paying the bills, taking care of family. But the only thing that made me feel like happy and enjoy myself was going on this radio, playing the Afrobeats music.
And just enjoying yourself.
So I wasn't thinking about money. I wasn't bothered about that. Because that for me was almost like therapy.
Of course. Just like someone going to the gym.
That's it. And I've also gone to the gym for 20-something years.
Wait, how many hours? How many hours do you have in your day?
So, I am blessed not to like sleep. So I'm not a sleeper. Maximum a night, I'll probably I'll do 5. Maximum.
And then you're up the rest
of the day. Go to the gym first thing in the morning, at least 4 or 5 times a week. Done that for over 20 years. So what I learned later now is that those things teach you discipline.
100%.
And dedication.
100%.
And those are the 2 major ingredients you need for any successful career, especially in media. You have to be disciplined to be able to turn up on time and be consistent at your timings. And then you must be dedicated because you do not know when the switch
is going to happen. And you have to be prepared for it.
And you're close to it.
You have to be prepared for it.
So when you let go, just know you're letting go at the time that it's about to happen for you.
So cool. You see, Shopsy. So, radio.
Yes.
When did it tick then? Or when did the media side of things, because it's still buzzing in my mind that you kept that job for 20 years till today, and you managed to balance everything else. Family within it. So when did the media side of things tick?
After spending like 2 years at Voice of Africa Radio, I just decided, this thing was a little bit stressful. You know, you have moments, you just go through moments where you're like, this thing ain't working. There's nothing happening.
100%.
I'm tired, 100%, 100%. Man. And I stopped in 2008. One day, so for like a whole year, I hadn't seen DJ Larry. I hadn't seen him at all. And one day I was driving around my house in Dagenham and I saw him. So I waved, Larry, what's up? And he was like, yeah, peace. And left. Next week, I see him again. This is someone I haven't seen in like a year. And I see him twice in 7 days. So I parked this time. I said, what are you doing in my neighborhood? He said, his mom lives here. So he comes like every weekend just to come and chill with his mom, take soup and go home. So I'm like, so what are you doing now? You still at the radio station? He's like, no, man, I stopped. I said, no, what? So what are you doing? I've got an online platform now. I said, online platform? Oh, really? He said, yeah, like SBTV. I said, SBTV. Okay, send me your address. I took his number. Send me your address. I'll come check it out. And that was like a Saturday. So on a Sunday afternoon, I wasn't doing anything. I hopped in my car, I called him, and I drove to his house. When I got to his house and I saw the setup, I was like, you have this here? And he kept on saying, and the Nigerian artists, they're so difficult to get. They don't even want to come to interviews. I said, you have this thing here and they don't want to come? He said, yeah. Whilst I was in his studio, I said, do you know what? I'll team up with you. Give me half, and I'll get the interviews here, and I'll get the celebrities here. He looked at me. He said, "Do you know how many people have promised this type of things before?
To do that?
Yeah, you promise stuff. You're asking for her." When I got home, I sat down. I just called him up. I said, "You know what? Fuck the half. Let's do it. Forget
forget that side of things. Let's just get the ball rolling."
And he said, "Let's go." And that was 2008. And that's how Factory 78 that you see with me and him kicked off.
And then since you just...
And Factory 78 was when we now started chasing the interviews, going to the press conferences, Wizkids, everybody interviewing people.
Everybody has actually come through Factory 78.
So that was it. That was the union that Factory 78 now went on a mad roll for like 4 or 5 years. And that was really when the media thing was
Hitting heavy.
That was
it. Yes.
That was it. And then like 2012, 13, I now got back on radio with Bang Radio at the time that ultimately became Beat FM.
Beat FM, Housden. And then you started doing that. So at that point, was it making sense?
No.
Or you was just still doing?
No, it wasn't making sense.
You was just still doing it because of the love.
We're just doing it for the love. And now at this time, you know, I had kind of like had a little bit of a voice. I'd become part of the Afrobeats culture. So even if you didn't want to do it anymore, people call your phone. People saw you as, you know, a stepping stone to get into a market. They saw you as part of the culture here. And really, that was it. So the media thing continued with Factory 78, Beat FM, and then I started working closely with Smade.
And this is 2000.
So that was 2012. 2012 when Wizkid came and all that stuff. I saw. So what happened was at the time we had BlackBerry. Remember we had BlackBerry phones. So because I told you that I don't sleep, at night, like in the middle of the night, I'll be sending our interviews out. You know.
So by the time they wake up.
Yeah, so when people come, it's on Twitter, it's people's boxes, we send it to Not Just Okay, it was those type of stuff. And then when I look at my BlackBerry phone, the profiles will update. And Smade always used to update every hour. So I'm like, this guy is sleeping. So when I click into his profile, he's at HMV Apollo with a Wizkid poster. He's in South London. Like, I'm like, this guy. So that year, after the Wizkid concert, I now told him, I said, you should come see me because he lives around me. And he came and I'm like, bro, you know what? I know you work with them Rockbo, Cocoa Bar, and stuff like that. But I could see at that time that there was a special connection between the artist and him. Everybody else was business. He was relationship.
Personal, yeah.
So, and not only that, so he had a personal relationship with the artist that was obvious. And he was the only one that had a personal relationship with the media too. Because everybody else treated us like shit. Yo, Cocoa Bars, bro, they treated us like shit, bro. Like, if we were not who we were
at the time,
those guys would have put everybody to sleep. Do you know how many industry folks had left the culture because of the treatment that we got from the promoters? It was the worst thing. They would use us to promote. Listen, we were the ones at the press conferences that our videos went viral. We were the ones that were doing the interviews and that was helping to, because remember, there was no media platforms crazy like that.
That's very true.
So it was us, the online guys that was excitable and stuff like that. But they treat us like shit. We'll turn up at concerts, we can't get in. You know, it was horrible. But he still had a human element to him. So he was still reachable. Everybody else was kind of corporate, like, fuck this guys, we've used them. That's it, we don't care about them. But he would still find a way to keep a personal relationship. So when he came to see me, I said to him, like, yo, I understand that you work for everybody else, but there's something about you, man. I think you can actually do something crazy because you have relationships with the artists. And during the press conference, if you don't watch those press you see him and Wizkid giggling,
talking, talking, chatting.
Ice Prince, they've got, you know, he was always, plus the major interview that I did with Wizkid, I got a call, I was at work, crazy. And one of my friends said, yo.
What year was this?
This was 2012.
2012?
Yeah, they said, yo, this kid, no, 2011 when Wizkid blew up, still Nigeria. This guy is in town now, this young kid is in town. I said, what? Yeah, and that time, to be able to get to management, you have to take the CD and look about 7 numbers. The marketer number, the manager number, the office number. You'll be calling everybody under the sun. And those guys didn't care about interviews, so they didn't give a damn about nothing. But one of them was Banky W's assistant. And Banky W now picked up the phone and said, okay, I'll link you with Wizkid's manager and she can connect you. So Asage now said, okay, he's in London. you guys should find a way to connect with him. Okay, I was at work in front of my computer. Boom, my phone rang. I picked it up. This guy, he used to run an online magazine at the time. He's moved back to Nigeria now. He said, bro, I've got the drop. That Wizkid is in Dagenham. I said, Dagenham? That's my house. And I'm talking, I just got to work, like 2 hours into work. He said, bro, we might be able to do the interview, but we need to find Ice Prince as well. And I know where Ice Prince is going to be at 1 o'clock. I just told my boss, I said, listen, there's a family emergency. Somebody is about to give birth right now. I need to back. I got on the train. I called DJ Larry, meet me at Dagenham Eastway. We got to Dagenham Eastway. They said, Ice Prince is down the road getting a haircut. I walked into the barber shop. He was there, sat on the chair. And if you know Ice Prince, he's one of the nicest guys.
Chill guy.
So once I walked into him, I'm like, bro, what's up, man? I want to interview you. He said, cool. Let me finish this cut, and then we can go to where I'm staying, and we'll do the interview. I said, cool. When he finished, he got in the car. I drove him to this house. We walked in. Boom. I see the young Wizkid playing games. 2 for 1, let me. I'm a interview.
So you didn't know when they said Wizkid was in Dagenham, you didn't know he was.
No, Ice Prince just took us home to go and interview him in a comfortable space because the barber shop was loud. I got there, teenage Wizkid playing FIFA. Nibo. Oh yeah, the microphone. We're looking for you. But that was it. I just grabbed Wizkid. I interviewed him. That's like the first ever clean Wizkid interview anywhere on the net. The first ever one he did was in Nigeria by one generator. So nobody heard nothing that brother said. And that guy uploaded the interview online.
He said, regardless, it must come out.
You guys must watch this shit. And kept having views because people wanted to watch, but you couldn't hear nothing. So this was the first clean interview
that you heard
Wizkid gave. And that was with me. So I did that interview. Whilst I was finishing Ice Prince, somebody just walked into the house and said, who are these people? So I looked up. It was Smade. It's his house. It's crazy, huh? It was his house. They were living with him. Wizkid and Ice Prince were living with Smade.
I actually remember that time because those pictures was still until today, Smade still posted the pictures
where they're
of him
just sleeping on the couch and just they were living with him. So that's when I now knew that this guy, his connection with these guys were real. And I told him that, bro. And then he said, after the whole Wizkid 11, 12 hype, when he came to see me, he was like, I'm actually thinking of doing something. I said, what? There's a new kid in town.
Is that Davido?
By the name Davido. I'm trying to put all my money to do a show. But David had only one record. He had back when, and Davido. So the big promoters, the Cocoa Bars and Co. said, nah, man, he ain't worth it. It's only 2 songs. And that boy might just be a gimmick. Might not go nowhere. Don't go and put no money on that. But Smade was like, I have a good feeling. So I said, listen, if nobody's going to back you, I'll back you. Let's do this thing. 3 months into promoting the Davido show, boom, Skelew.
Drop Skelew. everything went from there.
Out. That was it.
What venue was that? Was that?
That was Indigo 2.
Indigo 2. Indigo 02.
That was it.
me, Sonar.
Performed.
We was on that show.
What's that? Lola Ray. Yeah, Lola Ray.
All on that show.
Sonar.
It was all on that show. Yeah,
that was it. And that was how we had a sold out show. And then when David, I say this all the time, when David came for that show, he was the first ever African artist who came into the UK and did a proper media tour, day after day, hour after hour, up until his performance. They basically flew him into London at night. He met me at DJ Edu's studio and started from there. and did not stop.
The press runs it was.
That was it. Cherry, set up left release.
Come put the leg back quickly.
Don't worry, just leave it. We'll just leave it.
We'll just leave it. Leave it like that. Leave it like that.
We'll just leave it. So that was it. You know, David changed everything for us. The way he engaged with the media, the way he engaged with the fans, the way he was so in tune with wanting to be successful.
Yeah.
That teaming up with Smade, who was a hungry young promoter who wanted to be successful, changed the game.
So that's where the link up came.
That's where the link up came from, bro.
So at this point in what you was doing, was you still vibing, or was it now making sense?
No, I was still vibing.
It's still making
So what I tell people is, at no time did we ever think that this thing, maybe for the promoters, because they're business guys from the start, you know, but even they will tell you that a lot of times they were just throwing money into the wind.
100%.
You know, the likes of Rocco and Co will tell you how much money they lost.
Spent, 100%. Money.
So it wasn't making sense. If it wasn't making sense to them, there was no way it was making sense to
anyone else.
We were just at that time excited now that we were being seen. Remember, reverse back to 2002, we were only entertaining the immigrants. It was those that had emigrated into the UK that understood Afrobeats, that understood P Square and Two Facing TV, understood, you know, all these guys. So by 2012 was the first time when younger people were starting to tap in. Hence why Whiskey took us to HMV Apollo.
And that was
5,000 capacity.
And that was a wow.
Exactly. That was it.
That was it.
Hence why we crossed over the Indigo 2 hump, the Shopsy hump, and went into HMV Apollo. That's when, people that were born and raised here, younger generation, saw this African thing as being cool, and the music was solid. The people that was promoting it, your Wizkids and Co, were younger. It tapped into them. Course. That was it. But for a lot of us, it really didn't start making sense until like between 2017 and 2000, just before the pandemic for me. I swear with my life. I tell everybody that the pandemic, we were just about to start eating. That year was actually 2019 was the year that I saw, I made some money consistently.
From entertainment?
Yes, from entertainment. And it looked like this thing might be something. And we come back from December and the pandemic hit. So it was really 2019 that a little bit of clarity came that, this thing, if you have a little bit of structure, some people were doing media relations, I was doing a little bit of media relations, helping some artists. Some people were doing, PR, some people were doing DJs. DJs were still getting paid £150, bro.
That's crazy.
Yes, brother.
That's crazy.
£150. DJs were still getting paid £100, 70, 80 pounds. Yes.
That's crazy.
So it was not clear at all. Hence why every industry that you see that develops, usually the people that benefit the most for a long time are the guys at the front, who largely are the musicians.
It's true, which is very true.
Everybody else, including their managers, their PR, their assistants, everybody's just hoping that one day there's a shift.
One day it ticks. So you was really doing it because of the passion.
Facts.
Because of regardless of whether it made something or not, you was doing it because of the love that you had.
I've got a trick question that I ask people, and I'm sure I've asked you before. How long are you prepared to do this without getting paid?
Yeah.
And what's the correct answer?
You have to be prepared to do it. You have to keep going until it makes sense for you.
Until further notice. So anybody that gives you an answer that's got a timeline has failed. And is in the wrong business.
Of course.
Because it could take you 10, 15, by God, 20 years before this thing makes sense. I saw a video today where they were talking about Oprah. Oprah was fired at 23. Morgan Freeman didn't have his first big movie till he was 50.
Yeah.
Michael Bolton was signed as a 17-year-old artist. His first major hit came when he was 38. By 43, he was a legend.
So that just goes to show there's actually no time.
No.
If you come into the game with time, then you're setting yourself up for failure.
Depression.
Yeah, of course.
Because you'll be looking at other people. Why is it not happening for me?
Of course. And you've always said that to me. Every time that we've actually had our heart-to-heart moments, you've always said, don't look at anything. Just, if you believe in this, what you're trying to do, just keep doing it.
Trust me.
Just keep doing it.
That's the only way.
Okay, bro. So now that brings me to the challenges.
Yes.
Because the way you've said it, it's like it's just been smooth. The way you said it from 2002 to it's just been smooth.
Yeah.
What are the challenges that you faced on this journey in this media industry?
First of all, the financial challenges. Mm-hmm. Because you're not making any money, it means you're spending the money you're making to take care of yourself.
100%.
To chase a dream.
Which a lot of people don't understand.
That's number one. Number two, the media entertainment industry is something I call, it's a customer-related industry. Mm-hmm. And by that, I mean that it's an industry where you have to deal with people. You have to deal with people, you have to deal with personalities, you have to deal with egos, you have to play around with human beings. And anything that's heavily reliant on human beings and their individual decisions always has the huge possibility of having negative effects on you.
100%.
So, for example, access to artists. At a time, some managers were acting like they were the boyfriends
of the artists. 100%.
To get an interview, they felt like
you're begging for their life.
They didn't want you to have an interview. Oh no, access to the artists is to some promoters. Because they're the ones that brought the artists to town. Yeah. They have some kind of ownership that they wouldn't want to give you access to the artist. So these were some of the biggest challenges that anybody in my position had. Because your media, to be able to survive, you need to do these interviews.
You need to do the, you need to put out the content.
But now you have massive barriers that so number one, the financial constraint. If you don't have a job that consistently pays you to ensure that your family is good, that means you're taking out of the pockets of your family to throw into something that you're not going to see from, which means they're going to be feeling the effect. That pressure is now going to come into the relationship, bro. You're going to feel that one, bro. And then it also affects your personal relationships. If you're in a marriage, you're in a serious relationship, I don't think I've shared this story before, but I told a friend of mine last week and her mouth was wide open. I went on a date once with my missus and we had sat at the table. This was long time. We hadn't gone out, maybe in like 7 months. And I'm like, yeah, we're going to go to dinner, blah, blah, blah. And we sat at the table. She just started ordering and my phone rang. I looked at the phone. I said, no, I'm not going to pick this up. I kept on talking. But she could see that I wasn't easy.
Right. Yeah.
So I said, what's it? I said, someone's calling my phone. She said, pick it up. I pick it up. I said, hello. It was Vanessa Amadi, who is now Tiwa Savage's manager.
Yeah.
But at the time, Tiwa Savage's kind of like PR.
Yeah.
So she called. She was like, Shopsy. I said, how you doing, sis? What's going on? She said, cool. Tiwa Savage is in London. And she has a new song that she just shot the video. The song is not out. And she wants your opinion on it.
And what year is this?
I'm 29. The song was 64.99 or
64.99.
She really wants you to see this video. So I'm like, okay.
That was the request from.
So I'm like, oh, cool. I can come see her. She's like, no, she wants you to come now. I'm right there
with the missus.
She's got the order in hand. Now, I'm listening to Vanessa and I'm like, okay, I want to go. This Tiwa Savage, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, mind you, the missus also hears how you talk about Tiwa Savage. Oh man, Tiwa Savage fine. This girl's back. Now she's calling you
to come
and you're ready to drop everything here, including our dinner date, to go after that woman. Baba, you will get bored. But I had to go.
So you went?
Baba, I left my missus at the dinner table with my credit card.
I said,
by herself. And went to go and see Tiwa Savage. Yes.
See,
yes,
so what is that then?
So that is the dedication. At that time, I knew that of course, that's my relationship.
Yeah,
this is very important. A lot of people will be like, that's disrespectful.
Yeah.
But I also knew what my role was. So Tiwa Savage thought that my opinion on the record mattered. And she wanted me to see it before it came out.
Of course.
And she wanted to show me now.
Of course.
You know, so
that's
you
true.
Also have to look at your position. Yeah, the missus is going to be a little bit angry and blah, 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 blah. But if you really know what you have to understand your calling sometimes.
100%. 100%.
And at that moment was one of those moments where I knew what my calling was. Like, I'm here to support the culture. If all she needed was a pat on the back to say, yo, man, this is the dope record, and that was it, let me go and give it to her. Like, you know,
of course.
So I told Mrs. I said, I put the phone down, I said, you know, Tiwa Savage called me. She said that, and she was reading and she said, so what's she gonna do? I'm looking at her like,
what you mean?
You already know. So I said, you know, she's traveling back. I gave her everything. She said, don't worry, just go. Because she knew if she had put her foot down, I might have stayed.
But it wouldn't be, there's tension.
And that dinner no go sweet for my mouth. And everybody go, no.
Be eating it, pissed off.
Just cursing and just acting anyhow at the dinner table. I left her there. She finished the food, she ordered a cab, went home by herself. Because I went to London to go and see Tiwa Savage and just check the music video out and speak to her.
That's crazy. That's dedication.
Those are the kind of sacrifices.
That's what I was just about to say. That's the sacrifices, because that brings me into family, your family, your career, and you being a dad. What's the balance? Because like you said, that happened at a dinner date.
Yeah.
And I'm sure many more of those moments have happened. Maybe when you're trying to do,
I had a big interview. I had a big interview at the time with Dr. Sid. And Larry had called me that Dr. Sid was coming to the studio. And I just coming from work. And we had like a young baby. My daughter was a baby at the time. So you know how women are.
Yeah.
It's a baby in the house. You know, they need you.
Yeah, when you come back.
Yeah. So when I just came into the house, I got a phone call. Boom. Dr. Sid. I just started taking off my work clothes. And she's looking at me like, what's going on? I'm on my way. I'm on my way. She's just thinking to herself like, this nigga tripping. Guess what? She had the door locked and hit the key. Fight with the door, bro. I got to the door. Where's the key? She just kept on doing what she was doing. And, where's the key? I don't know. Somewhere around. I'm there. You know, first of all, I was puffing up. Like, what kind of nonsense is that? And then I thought, listen, you're going to have to play this song.
You're going to have to pipe all the way down. Pipe all the way down.
From 100 back to 0. Because this woman has already decided that, this guy don't go anywhere.
You're not going anywhere.
So to get out of this, you're going to have to play cool.
You have to downplay that.
Came back down. A lot of maneuvering and meandering. And all of a sudden, the keys came out. So trust me. And then there are times when I'm just with my daughter. Like one of the Whiskey shows at the O2 Arena. I think the first one, there was a video of me that went viral that I was like this with my daughter in the stands. And a lot of people didn't understand what that was. But I'd taken her as a baby to do interviews where she's on my arms. I'll put her down, I'll put biscuits or stuff, and I'll be doing interviews. And she's there like a 1-year-old just watching and stuff. And some of these artists, you know, they'll come, your daughter, you brought her. I'm like, I'm watching over her. I've got an interview. So she saw me at the beginning as a baby. It's always been in her memories, running around with this Afrobeats thing. So eventually, when we got to the O2 Arena, and she was in there.
It's like...
Yes, so it started to make sense.
Yes.
Oh, yo, that's my dad, you know, so that was it.
That moment.
That's the most difficult part, because as a parent, you have to be around 24/7 for your kids, especially in this UK, where anybody can come and influence your kids. They, you know, so you have to be around. We know what a lot of our parents suffered.
Of course, night shifts and stuff. To be able to provide.
But you can make a way.
You can make it happen.
And that's why I said, I take my daughter to interviews. Also, you're also teaching them something. You know, I'm working. And you can see, they can see you working from, because in the kids' subconscious, they remember that my dad used to go working and I'll be in the car and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's probably the most difficult part, you know, being a parent, being a family man, trying to provide and then pursue your dreams. Because your dreams, for the most part, it's not bringing in any paper.
Bringing in nothing, but you still found a way to continue. Cool, so after lockdown, you said just before lockdown is about to tick, but then COVID-19 came. It came and it went, thank God that we're still here. What happened after? Where was Shopsy?
So for me, just before lockdown, so in 2014, I went to an event at the Africa Center in Covent Garden. So they had like an Africa Day. Big stage, DJ Edu playing, you know, they had artists and stuff. So when I got to that Covent Garden, there were thousands of people in the square. But I saw DJ Edu by himself on the stage. He was playing music, trying to entertain, but I felt like there was something missing with engaging with the audience. Yeah. And I felt like it just looked like it was alone by himself.
Yeah.
So I went there and I said, listen, that's my friend on stage. I want to just go and be with him. So whilst he's playing, and those guys allowed me. So I went to meet Edu up there whilst he was playing. I said, give me the microphone. Let me just try to warm the crowd.
Hype them up, yeah.
That was the first time I ever stepped on stage with a microphone.
That was it. So
there was no
time previous, nothing, no experience.
It was just, I saw my friend playing to thousands of people. And even though it was playing the right music, it looked like there was something missing. And I picked up the microphone and we worked the microphone together for like 45 minutes. I got off stage and I got my first booking to Germany.
And when's this, 2014?
2014, as a host.
So you've been going to Germany booking from... So how was that then? How was that like? For
me, I was just having fun with my friend. But it just so happened that it was in front of other people.
And someone saw it.
And people just saw it and they were like, man, this would be great for the stage. So these guys just called me and told me to come over. Like, yo, we're hosting something and would like for you to come with a DJ and come and play music and do exactly what you did on stage.
And at that time, did you know what to charge them, or it was just, I'm just going? So
it was the person that called. They called DJ Edu's manager. So when he called me, he's like, so how much are you going to charge? I'm like, I don't know.
Give me
you charge them. Like, you talk about the money. So he's like, all right, don't worry, I'll charge them. So he was the one that charged them and got me. I didn't know what to charge. For a lot of the times, we never knew what to charge because we fell into this and it was never like a business plan. Maybe that's probably one of the things retrospectively that we should have done a little bit better.
Yeah.
Once we started to see that things were happening specifically, then you go and speak to people that knew business.
And see how you can structure it properly. So the hosting actually started in 2014.
Yeah.
And then since then, did you do David O's? No, you didn't do David O's show. So what was? So
the first major hosting outside of that was Runtown. And how that happened was this bad guy called Toba called me and said, at the time there was some rumor that Runtown had slept with his
His girl, yeah, I remember that.
That was the biggest news.
I remember that.
Runtown slept with his fiance. So, and Runtown had Mad Over You, the biggest record. So he came to me, he's like, bro, I need to book this guy. Because if anybody else books him to London, it's going to be bad. It's just going to look bad. Because people are going to be like, Runtown slept with his fiance now. So he wants to be the one to book him to bring him here. And I said, okay, if you book him, then I'm hosting the show. He said, done. And I called Runtown and put them on the phone and got that booking done.
So you was behind that booking?
Yes, I was responsible for that booking.
Where did they do that? In Indigo 2?
Yeah.
And
so that's how I got on stage. So outside of the media thing, I think because of the relationships that I've been blessed to have,
yeah,
I've helped to facilitate a lot of business that
outside of it, yeah, that
I never really got anything for, but outside of it. But what those things do, even though you don't get paid for it at that time, you get paid in trust. So people have a lot of trust in you.
Yeah.
Because you've done business with them and they didn't give you money.
And you've
linked them to something that paid them. So now there's a lot more trust. People would listen to you when you say certain things because they know that you don't have your own personal agenda. Nobody your stomach working.
Of course.
You know,
of course,
and I think that's another benefit that helped to build relationships for me.
Was the crossover easy though, in terms of becoming a host? In terms of people taking you seriously as a host? In terms of you used to do media, then now you've done the relationship thing. Was that crossover easy? No.
Crossover change is one of the most difficult things. As you speak to me, I have an OG called DJ Abbas that I speak to at pivotal times of my life. Maybe every 4 years we have a sit down. And he would just say something and just be like, Shope, I think you should now really take that hosting seriously. I think you should focus on it, take it seriously. And he'll just have that with me, not knowing that he's sowing a massive seed. But he does that at every time I'm about to make a huge change. So it was SHOPSYDOO on radio. Then it became ADESOPE when I did a little bit of TV, Vox Africa, sports and entertainment. Then when I got on stage, it became the Energy God.
Yeah, so you have 3 different people.
Hence why I said I can go anything in between politics and reality.
You did say that. You did say that.
Those personalities can fit into that. SHOPSYDOO can be the entertainer on radio and this, that, and third. ADESOPE can have extremely intellectual conversations with you about politics, sports, reality, all of that stuff. And then the Energy God is a lousy noisemaker on stage.
So when did the Energy God take off then, for you?
I would say probably around 2018, just before 2019. That's why 2019 for me... It was a serious year because it was the moment where it looked like there was a little bit of clarity with some of the stuff that I can do. And it also looked like there was a bit of clarity with the industry. Because now we'd started to have major hits globally. You know, If Fire and Fall had come. Come Closer, Oju Elegba remix and, you know, had come. Then you have YC Juice had come. Mad Over You had come. Soccer had come.
We had bangers.
So we'd had consistent major records that came out of our culture and touched the mainstream world. Now people were interested, you know. People wanted to hear us.
Would you say that they show you more love outside of the UK than UK?
The Prophet is more respected outside
than the UK.
That is normal.
Because you've always told me
I've always told you to leave the UK.
That it's Europe.
You're wasting your time here.
You've always said that. Always said that.
So what happens is the UK has a syndrome of, because they constantly see it, it's probably worthless. Whereas outside of the UK, they do not constantly get it. They do not constantly see it. Entertainers don't just go to Germany or go to Oslo or go to Stockholm. They don't. So once in a while, when you go with your excitement, with your enthusiasm, with your passion, it's completely different to what they've had.
Yeah.
So
and they
appreciate that. And once again, in those markets, we're still largely talking to the immigrants. You know what I mean? Our brothers and sisters that are still, hustling. And then the new people that are enjoying the music outside of our culture. So for our immigrant brothers and sisters that are still there, when they see you, to them it means the world.
100%.
Yeah, they're more excited.
100%.
So you have to, for me, the UK is fantastic. It's the biggest hub for Afrobeats anywhere outside of Africa. We have the biggest media platforms promoting Afro-pop culture and Afrobeats. However, right now, there's a stagnation here. Hence why show tickets ain't selling.
Of course.
Hence why people ain't coming out. When you go into all these other markets, they're still excitable.
It's true.
Still sold out.
It's true. It's true.
If Hakka is doing 2-3 cities in Germany, or my name's doing 2-3 cities in Germany,
crazy.
Tells you that one city is not enough in that country.
It's true. That is very much true. What's your most memorable moment of you hosting?
Has to be Afro Nation 29
Afro
and 19.
Nation.
Has to be. Because at that point, now you're looking at tens of thousands of people enjoying the energy that you're projecting off of the stage, which largely is just you having a little bit of a good time with your own DJ.
Yeah.
So I'm not even focused on them people. I'm not concentrating on them because that could even disturb you. Because you have to entertain these many people.
Of course.
But that 2019 was a special year because nobody believed in Afro Nation. So big shout outs to Smade and the whole Afro Nation crew because they believed, but nobody else did. That was the year we saw Fire Festival on Netflix. And then a bunch of Africans saying that they want to do a festival in Portugal. Nobody was going to believe that. And then that happened. That many people came out. That many people enjoyed themselves. And then we had turning point artists.
100%.
Boy, African Giant, Wizkid, Soccer, Davido, Fire 4, Peak.
Crazy.
Bomb.
Crazy.
Bomb.
Crazy. So what is it? Do you plan or do you have an end goal? Yes. Or is it, are you just at the beginning stages of your hosting, or you would say you're on the way out? Or
I'm on the way out.
You're on the way out?
Definitely on the way out. So for me now, media platform.
That's what you
for me, it's about developing my media platform and just kind of like creating property for my kids, basically.
100%.
So that way, when they're sleeping, their dad's platform is generating money for them. This guy's not just been running around
jumping up
being
and
crazy on social media and stuff and for nothing,
No,
that is it now.
Of course.
Any opportunity to be honest with you, any opportunity I get to host now, one of the major reasons I'm taking it is basically because I'm just getting to go into other countries and experiencing, building relationships, because relationships is everything.
100%.
It's morphs into other things. Different business opportunities come from that.
100.
And I learned a lot from that. Like I went to Barcelona a couple of times this year. And one of the times I went there, once I landed, they were like, oh, they want to take me to dinner. And the first place they took me was an Ethiopian restaurant. I live in London. I work in housing. I'm around Somalians, Ethiopians all the time. I've never been to an Ethiopian restaurant. I went in Barcelona. The next time I came back to Barcelona, they wanted to take me to eat. They took me to a South African restaurant. So London has taught us segregation more than we can ever imagine. Whereas outside of the UK, it's not Nigerian, it's African.
Yeah.
You're sitting at a table with a Gambian, a Ugandan, a Zimbabwean, a South African. There's a lot more unity and mixture outside of the UK.
100%.
Whereas here, I'm on an Ajay fuck everybody else. Yeah.
So, you spoke about relationships, yeah?
Yeah.
And even me, I've always wondered, we're not going to bring it to our present time.
Yeah.
Our brothers, Davido, Wizkid.
Yeah.
How does that affect you? Because the position that you play in the industry right now, you are Afrobeats. You're the go-to when artists come in. They have to tap in with Shopsy. Whether you just got back from ATL.
Yes.
Do you understand what I'm saying? We'll get to that. But their current situation, as we all knew them as friends. Davido came out at Wizkid's show. Wizkid came out at Davido's show. How do you navigate that situation? Being the person that you are, you speak to both of them. You're very cool with both of them. And I know a lot of people would expect you to talk on the situation or take a side. How do you navigate through that?
So the one thing that I also have learned with my time in the media is that I've also learned how to be a human being. I've also learned how to navigate real life, because the entertainment industry is also a part of real life.
It's true.
Number one thing that I learned maybe just a couple of years ago, you never pick enemies because somebody else has got an issue with them. Treat people the way they treat you. I've
100%.
got friends, closest friends right now that I work with that mess with some guys that I cannot stand. When they're in the same room with me, I feel like to go and pull the hair out. But my closest brother is close with them because they make money together. They eat together. So what's mine? And I don't expect him to take my own stand, because the way this guy messed with me is not the same way he messed with him. So that lesson is what I now carried into the entertainment industry. Anytime I see Wizkid, anytime, go and watch any videos. When he greets me, the next question out of his mouth is, how are the kids, man? You know, how's the family? You know, how's... When I see Davido, bro, how you doing? How are the kids, man? So they've gone beyond the entertainment industry stuff. They actually want to know how you are too.
Yeah. So it's deeper than what people...
So it's not just the entertainment gossip stuff. Bro, you know I'm always recording stuff all the time.
100%.
Do you know the kind of stuff I have on my phone that will never see the light of day? That if I put out, the whole industry implodes. But I know how people will react to certain things and what they will pick out to certain things.
Of course.
So I found out maybe a couple years ago, I took myself out of the critic phase and put myself in the enthusiast phase. As an enthusiastic person about the culture and people, you're always only looking for the good in them. Always only, at all times, anything I share is always, in my opinion, to positively share the light on any one of them. Sometimes you make a mistake, you don't know that content you shared might be derogatory, might be something.
Of course, because people have taken it like
that. But always only. And when you do that, even the entertainers themselves know that this guy, you know, Wizkid's album's out, I'm screaming off the rooftop about it. Davido's got a show, I'm shouting crazy about it. Tiwa Savage has got something, I'm standing 10 toes down. Yemi Alade is going crazy. Because people have differences that none of us even know. You'll be surprised, even some of the closest people to them might not even know what the differences are. Everybody's just riding with their guy. And then what usually happens, that has happened to me in life, is you have an issue with somebody, and 5 years down the line, when you decide to settle down and hash it out, how did it even start?
It's like...
Nobody can remember. Nobody can remember what it was, because at that time, maybe somebody was being sensitive, he saw something on Twitter, he took it some way, and boom. But now, that same thing that ticked you off on social media, you look at it and laugh about it now. So you have to ensure that you don't pick up people's fights, pick up people's enemies. You treat people specifically how they treat you. And you will find yourself in a position where you don't have to.
Yeah, you're balanced.
Yeah.
You're balanced.
You see everything. You might not, Whiskey was a little bit hard, or you might not like what Whiskey said or what Davido said. Sometimes, maybe I would have not said that, blah, blah. You know, as a human being, you might react to certain things.
Of course,
but again, you don't know what exactly it is. So how can you come out? A lot of the people on social media being analysts and stuff, they don't even know
what's going on. They don't know the deep down, the root of the situation. But does that make you, because of the position that you're in, do you feel the pressure to speak on it all the time though?
No.
Because people in the comments saying,
No, I feel the pressure to see a positive result with them.
To make it make sense.
Even before there was a public beef, my prayer was when I walked out of my office in Wembley one day, One Direction was at the Wembley Arena, at the Wembley Stadium. They had about 6 merchandise stands. Every parent that walked towards the Wembley Stadium had a minimum of 3 kids in their hands. Each one of those kids had a bag that had merchandise worth over 150 pounds of One Direction. And that day I said, imagine if Wizkid and Davido tour. Brother, these guys are taking out. Merchandise alone, they've gone to sleep. Sponsorship is gone. They're just coming on stage just to play.
To have fun.
Bro, there is no way that any one of us will walk into that stadium or that arena. You're spending, any concert I go to, I buy merchandise. If I go with my kids, they buy merchandise. So imagine, that's what I've always seen. And what I always pray for. So when the beef now became public, I'm like, man, there's so much money on the table. I know these are personalities that are grown men and stuff, but there's so much money on the table.
Do we see that happening though? Do you see that happening?
I saw it happening like a year ago. We're very close. Wizkid had acknowledged that there was going to be a tour with him and Davido.
Because it was meant to be.
He said it. Of course, DJ Equal and DJ Tunes were already doing shows together in America, where both of them were performing together on the same stage. Everything was set. Everything was ready. We were looking at millions, but everybody was going to cash out.
Everybody.
But boom, the devil said, nah, fuck your dreams. I'm running this shit. All y'all can go jump out of the roof. The devil had other plans.
100%. So one thing you've always showed me and told me is invest in yourself.
Facts.
No matter what you're doing, invest in yourself. If it's to get yourself over there, to take that opportunity, how important is that?
It's everything. Most of the events that I traveled to, initially when I started going into Europe, that was me dipping my hands in my pocket, chasing after that, traveling, going to those cities to go and watch those shows, interview the artists there, invest in presenting myself. Some of those shows I jumped on stage for absolutely free because I felt that, number one, the platform was important enough to showcase my talent. And number two, if I did a great job, these guys might actually call me back and say, listen.
You've always said that. Invest.
And I know that that's one thing that us as Africans within the entertainment industry find hard to do. Because a lot of people have probably spent a lot of money to get here. So when we're talking about consistently investing in yourself and doing this free thing all over again, they're like, man, this thing is, I can't keep on. These guys are making, you start counting people's pockets. That if they pay the artist 200 and something thousand, why can't they give me? But it's not gonna work. You might, hope that you get the benefits from here, but your benefits might be coming from there.
100% from someone else. Completely, that has nothing to do with the show.
Nothing to do with everything that you've invested in.
100%. And I've seen some things like that.
Trust me, it's the number one most important thing that I've come across, that investing in yourself and getting up, rather than waiting for the phone to ring, you go over there yourself.
100%.
Don't wait, don't sit and wait. By sitting down and waiting for the phone to ring, you have to be the most important person that everybody needs.
Otherwise, your phone will not ring.
Who go phone you?
No.
Nobody's phoning anybody, Baba.
So, supporting the up-and-coming artists in the industry today, in terms of some people may see it as, you're hard to reach. It's only the big people that Shopsy talks to. If I message him, but I've seen that. Do you know what I mean? I've messaged you several times and you're on response, you're on call. But how does that operate with you?
So for me, there was one artist that someone put me on last week. And I posted that, I went to the artist page. So they sent me some music from the artist. I was driving at night and they sent me music. And the first song I played was a remake. So the artist had jumped on DJ Tunes' Apala Disco. The artist's name is TML Vibes. And I played the Apala Disco remix. And because I love that beat so much, so the minute I played it, boom, and he just went hard. And I'm like, yo, this artist is crazy. And when I'm excited, I just posted on Instagram, like, this artist is crazy. I just see like 100 people in my comments like, bro, this artist been around, been crazy for. I said, bro, you can't see everybody. You can't see everybody.
True.
Sometimes you just have to, it's one of the reasons why you tap in with so many people.
100%.
And then people just have to be persistent.
100%.
A lot of times I'll just go into my DMs, and start clicking the artists that have sent me stuff and go to their page. Let me go and listen to the music. Let me see what they're about. A lot of the artists nowadays, they're just on Instagram stunting. You don't even know who wants to check your music, whether your music is good. You don't know. You're just there with pictures of you looking cool and stuff. You're a musician. There's nothing on your page that shows your music. It's all swag. And you don't know who's gone there quietly to go and check. I'm like...
But then you're asking for a handout.
And then you're asking you're in the comments, oh, please show us love. Bro, I've come to your page. You are not serious, Baba.
You don't need...
you don't need any help. So that's another thing that people don't know. That people are quietly... I do it all the time. I'll just go... Because people tag me. I even went as far as to tell people to collaborate with me on stuff. And a lot of those stuff, I'll just go and when they collaborate, I'll go and check it. If it's something I mess with, I accept. If it's something I don't, I just leave it alone. And that's because I want to see.
It goes hand in hand. It goes hand in hand.
And because of social media, a lot of young artists nowadays have become slightly lazy in being persistent with their art. I understand that that's the culture. People have a perception that you can just blow on social media one time. No, bro, you have to be persistent. Some of the biggest musicians you see have to be continuously knocking on doors. So for me, that's what I say. Keep knocking. Don't be dismayed. Don't think that sometimes we genuinely don't see it.
True.
So please keep sending it.
True.
Keep sending it and we'll see it. I like youth. I like new blood. Hence why... I instantly caught on to Rema. I instantly caught on to Ruga because I thought they were different.
Yeah.
And they were fresh. Now I see the TML vibes. I see Fola, Pondes. I see some new kind of people coming through. When Ira Star came through, my friend DJ Larry was telling me a couple months ago, it's like, those times when you were shouting about that girl at 17, he thought I was crazy. But I knew there was something unique about this girl. And she's just about to start. She ain't even started yet.
Crazy.
Trust me.
Crazy.
She's going to take us to big arenas.
Amen.
I believe.
Amen. Yeah. Amen to that. So listen, what I do on the Hakka chats, whenever I have guests, is there's someone out there that needs some sort of advice. Maybe it's in the industry that we're in. Like you said, you wear 3 different hats. Yeah. You've been doing that one job that you said you've held for 20 years. Even someone might need advice on how to even hold that. So I need you to look into this camera here. Yep. And give that person some advice on how to keep going and stay motivated and stay persistent.
It's the easiest thing for me. And I think it's number 1 rule in the world. If there's a dream that you have, number 1, you have to believe that this dream is going to come true. Then number 2, the one job you have is to keep working until that dream comes true. Whenever you feel the likeliest to quit, trust me, that's when you're closest to the dream being achieved. So keep going. And apart from that, even if it was one dream, sometimes alongside your dreams, there are little signs on the side of something else that you can do, that you can carry on. You're a great host, but you're actually a great presenter. So
you have to know when to switch. Know when to pivot.
That's it.
Know when to pivot.
And a lot of people, they find it difficult. So you have to keep going on that dream, believe in it, and more importantly, look at the little signs to know when to pivot and kind of like diversify your skills. Because whatever skills you have can be used in so many ways.
I appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
My big bro,
my brother.
Shopsydoo.
Thank you very much
for coming through and having a chat with me. You know, it's been a long time coming.
It's very important.
I've learned a lot. I hope the people have learned a lot. Now, you know, for the last thing we do is introduce yourself, state your name, who you are, like, comment, subscribe to the Hakka Chats.
What's going on, people? My name is ADESOPE, aka Shopsy, aka the Energy God. This is the Hakka Chat. Make sure you subscribe, like, share, comment. We need those numbers going up. The bigger we get, the better we'll be in position to support our own people. Peace out.